Hi, everybody. Happy Saturday night. It's so nice to see so many people here already in the chat. I do appreciate you continuing to join me on this journey about our friend, the Christian YouTuber who's been causing all sorts of shenanigans lately. I know other people always sort of say, oh, it's got to be this person or that person. But there seems to be a pattern of behaviors that one person seems to be the predominant factor of it, and that person seems to be our good friend Sarasota Tim, who we will be talking about obviously this evening. Though I have said that obviously in my video today, it's been a strange day. Anyway, let me get started. Hey, Ann, come on in. Oh, thank you for saying you love my channel. I appreciate it. I know you were here early. I appreciate that. We've got Sharon here. Hey, Sharon. Keeping an eye on everything Sarasota for us. And so I certainly appreciate it. Oh, look at this. We've got a new member already. Marina has joined us. Well, I appreciate you joining us, Marina. Make sure that you check out the members only videos and you'll get a chance to actually look at the legal counter notification that probably seems to be the source of Sarasota Tim's narcissistic rage today. And I do believe it's him. And I have strong reasons to believe so. So, yeah. Who else we got in the house? Hopefully I'm on the contact lenses. So I'm struggling a little more. And I finally had to break down and take a loratadine D today, which is a fairly strong antihistamine, because the pollen is outrageous here in Virginia, and I wanted to be able to breathe. So I may have to take some sips of fluid just because I'm a little drier than usual. We've got Old School Fitness. Hey, Cocktail Slippers is here. Come on in. I love all the emojis. Bring them on. I need to add more. I do have more. I did find a new drop, which we'll share at some point. Who else? We got Cat Lady Life is here. Come on in. Come on in. Marina, who just became a member. Come on in. What do you mean is here? Just Cody. Stacy's here. And I think if we get it, a good old group of people today, I may be doing a membership giveaway too, just because I feel giving. Hi, come on in. Squirrelbait's here. Come on in. Phoebe's here. Lee's here. Hazel's here. Just Cody. Hey, coming in with lots of emojis. Loving that. We're going to be definitely doing some things about medical scammers. And Bertie the Explorer is here, and lots of you. So make sure you hit the likes on the way in. I didn't put another post out because YouTube allows for like 3 creator notifications, and I used up a bunch of them just on my community posts today because I felt that was an important topic to cover. And so we're going to cover that, I think, a little bit first, and then we'll get over to our good friend Sarasota Tim's video. So let me get over here. Let's go over to this over here. And this was hold on. It wasn't this one. Hold on. Let me know. It was, let me see. I had it earlier. Hope I haven't misplaced it. Let me see. Maybe they actually have it gone at this point. So anyway, I had found the channel earlier and I probably should have taken it down. I probably have flicked around on it. Anyway, let me not get totally distracted that way. So I had reported obviously the channel that had left a comment about myself and about Miss Vicky. And let me see. Do I still have it? Oh, yes. Here we go. Let me share this because this is interesting. See, it's really been addressed and I don't know how. So let me share this. So if you remember today, let me see. This is it. Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay. Got something made. Okay. There we go. Something interesting to share. Finally. Okay. So today, I actually kind of, got up and, kind of looked over at some of the comments that had been left. Oh, Dr. Falcon, that was very generous. That's so generous. $20 says to help out. Go get him. Thank you. Because there's going to be more things happening. And helping out is just watching. Hit the likes as you guys come on in tonight, because that's going to help other people find this live stream. And obviously, the more people who see it, the more money the channel makes, the more I'm able to continue. And I hope that in the future, if there's other people that you think are problematic, like really problematic, like Tim has turned out to be, because part of Tim's problem is that and I think he does a lot of this on his own. He may have some input from other people, but he obviously is the catalyst of this behavior. And I really do believe this was a sock account created by Tim. One, because it was so egregious, the name that he used, obviously using Miss Vicky's name. And I hated even showing that screenshot because it was so awful, but I felt I had to point it out. And that's very obviously personal to her because she makes commentary about him. Now, those of you who are members of my community are well aware of the counter notification that was sent to YouTube and to Tim. And it is pretty fair in about how fair use is and about copyright. It also addresses his cyberbullying, his other behaviors with harassment. And this is not just through him, but through people that obviously associate with him, which was also pointed out by my attorney. It's and regardless of if it's personally him but the details on this were so personal and included things about my certain details that only Mr. Baker has been privy of. So he would need to have shared that with somebody else, or and my thought is that he went out last night, he got unhappy, and he decided that he wanted to, because he's a narcissist and he's childish and he's immature and he does not know how to strike back. It's somebody who's actually presenting true legal facts to him and calling him out on his health and wellness scams as well. And so you may not be hearing so much about the cardiologist from Tim, because that's what we're going to be addressing tonight, is about the scam on that one. Getting advice from JJ. Well, it's been going on for a long time for Tim, because at the very start, when Blind Views started making commentary around him, he, I believe, started to go after Blind Views and his family and hit their home addresses and so forth. And Blind Views was able to kind of nip that in the bud and had kind of let it, and I guess how he decided to present his content with not using as many clips and just not kind of dealing with Tim and so forth, kind of let Tim, and then I'm not sure what kind of happened in the background, but I guess he sent him a strong email and Tim obviously took to it. Well, Tim thinks because I'm a woman and Miss Vicky's a woman, that we're obviously fairer game. He intimidated Buckeye Gordon enough that he had stopped making actual videos with reactions. So he was using everything under fair use and could quite easily continue making content. Tim is just a copyright removal bully, and he does not understand copyright. He literally does not understand what copyright is. Oh my gosh, Just Cody, you are so generous. Oh, Just Cody just gifted 5 Life in 5 memberships, and I will be matching 5 more later on tonight. Oh, Catherine's come on in. So if you just got a membership, please let us know who received Cody's gifted memberships. That's so nice. That's so generous. Oh, Dark Phobia got a gifted membership. That's wonderful. That's awesome. Make sure you let us know if you're one of the people who were fortunate enough to get one of those wonderful gifts from Cody this evening. That's really nice. What a nice way to start the evening. Thank you. That's true generosity. Tim and his $53. Gosh. Anyway, so I obviously reported the channel that had left this comment. So basically, kind of what happened is I got up this morning, and I'll try to not make the story too long. I got up this morning and I had seen there was a comment that showed up, and it was very clearly my name, address, like the value of my condo, how much equity, which, probably irritated Tim even more because of the fact it is more than the equity alone in my home is more than his liabilities put together. And so it probably irritated. He's sitting there looking at people sitting out on the yachts and everything else. And so he created, let me make myself a bit bigger here, created this channel that was derogatory towards Miss Vicky. And I really do truly believe this, because the details that were indicated kind of sort of really were details that I've had to share, legally, and through these copyright counter notifications that I did initially when I had to present all of my own details. And this time, it obviously didn't present my details other than just my full name in the legal document and nothing about my home address or anything. And obviously an attorney who's a female. And so for a very large firm. And so obviously they can verify that this genuinely is generally now reached a point where the shenanigans have reached and escalated between not just me, it's also the other creators that I'm also kind of standing for because of what they did to Olive Oil, who did everything within fair use. And because this person has frivolously used the copyright removal system with no copyright, just because you put something up on this platform does not mean you have copyright. YouTube probably has more ownership on your content than you do, unless you actually get a copyright certification on it. Unless you have spent the money on that, which we know Sarasota Tim would hate to spend the money on anything other than just like his preening of his clothes and crud. Doesn't even take care of his teeth. Just bought like 5 lousy t-shirts at Walmart. I mean, man's a shopaholic. I've never seen anything the like. I mean, seriously, it's an addiction at this point in my estimation. Anyway, I saw all these details on my thing. So obviously I got screenshots, and I obviously made sure I got all those ducks in a row. And also found out in this time, and not to give too many details, but the person, and this is why I do believe it's Tim, posted my details again on, it's not like they posted a video. They just put this information under this handle that has now been deleted and put in underneath one of my videos, I can't remember which one, my details. And then they did the same thing on a video on Miss Vicky's channel. And it was kind of like they wanted to make sure Miss Vicky knew that they had this really nasty, handle name for YouTube as well. And so I don't know if it went to any other creator channels, but it definitely went to all two. So Miss Vicky actually emailed me and felt really bad that this person had put my details out overnight and that she hadn't seen it in time and that other people could have seen it. And so Miss Vicky actually felt bad about that. Can you believe it? She felt bad about that. And she should not even be feeling bad about that at all. And God, keep an eye on Johnny Boy. He gets a little wild. I think he's irritating, actually. Oh, I'm actually just now putting him on a timeout. Okay. I think Johnny Boy is just going to go away completely. It's probably it's probably that weird, creepy guy out in Mexico harassing people out there. Vete a la verga, Johnny Boy. Okay. He's irritating. Anyway. Yeah, we're done. Yeah, banned. Yeah, thank you. Yep. Cobra John. Yeah, Tammy's watching now. Yeah. Tam, have you got a good attorney yet? Yeah, he's going to have to definitely sell that CC rider if he wants to pay for his attorney. So, because there's more to come to him, which I'd already been working on before. I think Tim's misconception is that was it. No, that's just the first thing that's coming your way, sir. And now, because of this action, I sent this to my attorney too, because it doesn't matter. It's just evidence, because this account was created on April the 5th, 2025. And fortunately, I did take screenshots of all this. I didn't put it to video, which makes it difficult to share on StreamYard. But I did obviously take screenshots, and obviously screenshots of the person leaving the comments. But Miss Vicky actually felt bad because she didn't delete him in time, or use like my name or things in order to as words that should be blocked. And it's not even her fault. And the person was being awful to her too. So that makes me mad, because I do not like people using ad hominem attacks, especially on women. So my thought is that Tim went out last night and tied one on potentially with Miss Tammy while listening to music, looked at the yachts. I have a video I released. It didn't go out to subscribers anyway. So, and then got all mad. And so I reported this channel too. And obviously it's been taken down either by the channel does not exist. I want to say they probably just deleted the channel because it's not even here where I've reported things. So it seems like maybe that was a personal choice. But all the information that I needed, I already have. Oh, he will definitely watches all the hater channels, and he is going down because he has so much cyberbullying and harassment at this point. And now we have this, and there's more. I mean, obviously, all the emails, there's so much, and they get so angry. Oh, Judy, thank you so much. You are so generous. Thank you for the legal fund. Keep up the fight against that drifter. He is a drifter. We're going to look at this ridiculous video of his. And like I said, it's not even like I didn't sort of just decide that I want to pick on Tim. Tim, to me, is somebody who displayed so many behaviors of a narcissist, and somebody who had been very lucky and fortunate to get where he did with YouTube, with really a lack of expertise and no ability to even disclaimer that. And kind of, even when he had his numbers wrong and stuff, from what I heard from everybody, was he doubled down and got really aggressively deleting people who spoke against him. Now, one thing is correcting somebody, and if you can't take that, then you shouldn't have a platform to speak on. If somebody really wants to come to me and speak to me with genuine things against medical information or something, or say something, I very clearly say, oh, that's a really good point, or I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm never going to be all knowing or all of these things. I like to think I am obviously a fairly learned person in some ways. But Tim really, because he doesn't have the expertise, I think that's where he feels insecure. And that isn't a good place for a narcissist, is that he got upset, and therefore he attacks people. So he attacked Blind Views, he's attacked Darling, because they did that. They've attacked Buckeye Gordon, they've attacked me. This handle that they created for this YouTube channel was an attack on Miss Vicky. They've obviously attacked Olive Oil. There are people that left vicious comments on her channel. Obviously, those videos are down because her channel was down, because she didn't want to do counter notifications and reveal her personal details, which still have been revealed in places, I understand. So they're still attacking this person to this day. It's not stopped. And this person is actually created now this drama. They could have understood to live and learn and just let bygones be bygones with channels that make commentary, and especially around medical topics. And so I have been very, fair. I've commented on a number of different people, and that's been addressed with my attorney too. And so I think having Tim being literally called a scam inside of an attorney's letter, and being taught what fair use is, and realizing that he really is not able to just keep continuing to bully and ask for his subscribers to report hater channels and stuff, you know? And now, if you've noticed for the last couple of days, hasn't even talked about his cardiac stuff. But yeah, so that channel's been deleted. And this is another sign to me that this is potentially Tim, because I put out that video about his having done this. So I have this on video because I showed it earlier. So I already have the video evidence because I made a video. So if you haven't checked it out, because I didn't release it to the subscriber feed, I did release a video today addressing this issue about this channel. So that has been addressed. I forgot. I have the video evidence. It's been a long day. It's been a while. He did not like me for telling him how bad the Advantage plans are. Now he's finding out and complaining about the $45 copays and out-of-pocket costs. Well, I don't even think he's going to those doctors, Bobby. I think he's complaining about those costs in order to buy me a coffees and sympathy from his audience. My deepest belief is that he is using some of Fred's cardiac history and embellishing it to his own stories. Tim has not followed. If you've seen how rapidly he has moved through this process, it makes no sense. Tim going to an echocardiogram, for what reason? As I stated, he had the cholesterol and the calcium scores did not match. The fact that he had tried to double down that the calcium score meant nothing was complete BS, because even over 400, it was like at critical mass. He has disparaged the medical profession. And there is, unfortunately, along with this sort of dislike of big pharma and, and people kind of having that attitude. And I understand pharmaceutical companies where they're, not fair pricing and not wanting to, do things well. I can understand why people would want to not trust the industries, but medications and medicines and on them, things like antibiotics are important and they help people. And a lot of these medications are life-saving and life-extending for people. And to have somebody like Sarasota Tim just talking about absolute garbage nonsense, and we're going to take a look at this one video, parts of it, then I have to say, as somebody who works in the profession, this isn't right. This is wrong. And it reaches a point where we have to say, no, enough is enough. I think we're so busy in our work, we don't have the time to do these things. And so I don't spend time, trying to post stuff on Facebook or stuff about things, or scrolling through TikTok. If I'm going to be doing anything on social media, I call out people like Sarasota Tim and look for more people who I think are problematic, especially around topics around health, mental health, and physical health and wellness, all of those things. And so I'm sorry if I'm not bringing up everybody's chats. I'm so sorry. I try to keep up with the chat. I know my mods are, so I really appreciate my moderators because I know they're in the chat. Okay, so let's get over. So this is interesting. So if you have not had a chance yet, I did release a video today. I can't remember what the name of it was. I'm so tired of Tim today. It was oh my gosh, it was like it was the one about the narcissistic coward. It was the name of the thumbnail. It was this YouTuber doxed me doxed my home address during a narcissistic rage. So yeah, if you haven't checked out that video, please go ahead and do so after the live stream, obviously. And if you haven't had a chance to hit the likes, please go ahead and do so. All right, let's get over to the part of the react. And no, I will not be putting his names into my videos because I will not give him any more of my space. All right, let's get over to here. Okay, I put him to a 1.25. All right. I'm coming over to StreamYard. Let me oh, it always does that. Why does it always do that? Every time. Every time. It always makes it back to not big to Tim. Okay. I'm going to there we go. All right. So this is his solo RV living. I got a stress test today at the cardiologist. Here's what happened. Now that office, I think he was just in the waiting room. And because he was whispering and stuff, like he didn't want people to hear that he was recording a video. I feel like he was in the waiting room because it got over real quick. I always feel like he had filmed this part while Fred was probably still inside the stress test center, because it was very coincidental that Fred and he happened to have a test the same day. And it's just, anyway, let me play Tim so I can take a sip of my fluid. Oh, take this away. Just take a look. Oh, we'll talk about it.
First of all, here's how it works. You go in there, and as soon as you walk in the door, it's $45. It's like a toll. And speaking of tolls, when I went to Clearwater and made a video, apparently I had to get on a toll road that I tell my Google Maps not to go on, avoid toll roads. So you get these scams on your phone, pay your toll. You get all kinds of scams text to you, but I just It's
always ironic when Tim talks about scams.
Missed it. So checking my mail today, looking for my new credit card to come in the mail, which was there. I also had 3 or 4 other pieces of mail. And one of them said, Florida Department of Transportation, open immediately and pay you dang toll. I'm like, what? So it's not late or anything, because I just got the text the other day. I said, this is a scam. I didn't go through any toll roads. And then it says a picture of your car going right through where it was. It was on toll road 690.
Well, how is this a scam? I mean, I have received text messages recently that have said I owe, like, my balance is low, and so, or I went through a toll in Jersey or somewhere. And obviously I do use Easy Pass, as it's called in this area. And so I just logged onto my account and just like looked at it. And there was a big alert that said there has been an increase. But if they're sending you a picture of your car license plate, that's a pretty good indication that's not a scam.
Coming back from Clearwater. I guess it was unavoidable, or I turned wrong or something.
Oh, gosh. Oh, Tim. Already? We're already here? Tim needing his subs to pay for his tolls?
No. I simply asked. I said, I wish I could have that dry begging. Well, I mean, you know what that is.
Yeah, Tim out here already dry begging some toll money out here. Jeez, Tim. I mean, this is what's so funny. Tim immediately starts talking about everything else being a scam. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck, and you're the duck, Tim. Okay. Look at this IV site over here. Look at this thing here. Okay. This, to any medical professional, is already highly, highly laughable. I don't think there's any medical professional that would leave it looking quite this bad. I mean, maybe I would never leave my gauze like this. It would get dirty. I mean, usually they try to fold it and then tuck that thing under here. I've just never seen it flap out like this. And then you'll notice when he takes off these gauzes in a very performative way soon, there doesn't seem to be any blood on them, which you would have thought if he just had some IV gauges up in there, there'd be some blood. And usually if we've done IVs and, they're sizable or something, we probably would tell somebody to keep it on for 24 hours just to ensure that, that it was there, and then you don't want to bend the arm too much, because that's going to cause a lot of, pulling of the blood and bruising after the IV's out. I just think this is just sad.
I know there was a terrible traffic that day, and I gladly paid it just to get out of there as quick as I could. But anyway, let's first have a little narcissist. Oh my gosh. You got to get this. It's at the
we just got started.
Geez. But it's great. It really is. It's at the one of you said you
Why is he spraying? Like this one, he looks like this. See, this is what's so hilarious. Is this Tim's like non-dominant hand? Because this one is like got some gauze around it. And then the other one is just like a floppy mess. Just... And it comes with a story, of course.
bought it. The body mist, peachwood. I don't know where this is. Something about Buff soap or something. Yeah, Buff body mist, narcissist. I thought it said it on here. There it is. It says Buff City soap.
Yeah.
They got it. Get it. You'll love it.
Yes. Tim is actually driving. Everybody, just be aware. Blind as a bat in one eye, probably. Guys, lifting up his glasses, trying to read something that he's struggling with while talking to a camera. That seems safe. Seems very safe. Safety first. The narcissist in him is just oblivious of everything around him. It's Tim's world, and everybody else just kind of lives around it.
And look, I've been spraying the heck out of it. I haven't used any. It's going to last me the rest of my life. So you go in, you pay the toll.
Exactly. Everybody knows that no IV would come out like that. You're right, Sam. That's not an IV site. The gauze is properly folded and taped on properly. Yeah, who does that? Nobody does that. It's just, and this is where, when you start thinking about these medical scammers, and they happen. Okay, I know it's hard. You don't want to think that somebody would lie about something like their health like this. But if you think about the trajectory that Tim has taken through this cardiac thing, this heart thing, it's been at such a rapid pace that does not happen in healthcare in the United States. And as I said, with that cholesterol score and then the calcium score, and it just, that would have said that would have been somebody who was long-term on too low of a dose statin, hadn't potentially looked at it. None of it makes sense because Tim was supposed to be so new to this. His primary care could have just managed him on a statin and diet and exercise and seen where he was in 3 months. The fact that they were already calling for coronary artery calcium scores, things of that nature, were not necessary at that time. If he was supposedly brand new on this drug, because it didn't even give a chance for him to make any type of modifications to make any changes to warrant necessarily the ordering of a coronary artery calcium score test, unless he had been complaining of chest pain. But this is a man who's suddenly out here telling people he's out doing sprints. But Jesus, he's like getting all these cardiac tests. Yeah, he's working out even harder at the gym and sprinting like Usain Bolt. Do me a favor. I mean, nobody who worked in healthcare could believe this. It's just so bad. All right, keep going, Tim. I'm about to give away some free memberships.
The toll afterwards, but you're not getting out of there without paying it. Very nice young lady and gentleman. He is a firefighter, still gainfully employed, and does this as a side hustle.
All of these things. Now, it's not to say that Tim didn't meet the people doing Fred's stress test and ask them some questions before he headed out the door to run his errands while Fred was still getting a stress test. And Tim had to film, because these stress tests, you get very tired. Somebody, Dinger, left me a comment about that. They actually go on, I think, much longer. So I would not be surprised if Tim went off, because look, his laundry's back here. Is he dropping his laundry off at Raphael? He better not be dropping that laundry at that wife's house because he took Fred to the cardiologist. He's outrageous. I have no idea. But I think he went off and did this pretend BSery and then took Fred home because he was gone for like an extended period of time after this. And that makes me think he dropped Fred home. And now who's out in Clearwater?
And he's going to collect Social Security. You don't know. He's only 50, 52 or 5. He tell me, good shape. And was asking about my YouTube channel. And,
yeah.
you know, like a lot of young people that are years away, they really have a lot of questions about when and not and all that. And I said, look, I got a whole playlist. Check it out.
How is it that every time that Tim is in any situation, it so conveniently leads up to him being this Social Security expert, and he gets to, you know, tell people about his playlist. Your channel is performing terribly, Tim. One of your videos has been up for hours, has not even broke 1,000 views, and you have 66,000 subs plus on your channel, supposedly. Though I don't know how many of those were actually bought, Tim, because JJ has a ridiculously high number of subs on his channel too, like 22,000. If you've looked at his content, how is that possible? And you know what, JJ? I'm going to go over and show your channel one day, mate, and try to get me for copyright because I'll send you a fair use. Because Tim, hopefully you might have read the letter that Tim got, and now you understand what that is.
I said the vast majority, other than these, what do you call them, financial counselors that want you to keep on using them the rest of your life, everybody else says, get your money. And it's not about collecting less money or waiting for more money. It's about living your damn life. Because look, I'm sure I can take these off now, but I'll walk around.
Look. Did you just see? I gotta show these things. Hold on. We gotta see this performative again. Hold on.
Them the rest of your life. Everybody else says, get your money. And it's not about collecting less money or waiting for more money. It's about living your damn life. Because look at these, please. Let's look at this, please. Oh my gosh, I'm starting a poll. I'm starting a poll on Nightbot about whether you think these are genuinely real IV sites managed by a medical damn professional. I used to do IVs all the time, and I can promise you, my work would never look like this. This looks like this man. I know it's the bandage, but look at this. Look at this. Who's ever left a place? And he said he had his vein blown on one of his arms. Do you see any sign here of a blown vein? If anybody has seen a blown vein on anybody that's, you know, there's going to start being some already signs of some bruising starting here. The hematoma starts pretty fast on a blown. This doesn't look like any man's vein got blown here. This is just outrageous. I'm starting a poll. Where's my polls? Let me start a poll. We're going to ask you if you really believe these are true IV sites. Are these real IV sites? Bandages. Lord of my life on this. It's a simple yes, no. All right, take it away. In a minute, we'll give away. Look at this. I can't believe this. Yeah, it's 2 shades. I don't know if that's the light, Cody. At least it matches his shirt. I know. Why isn't he recording 4K? Because it takes too long to upload. That's why. He's complained about the upload times. They are construction sites. Yes, they are. I know what it looks like. Yes. You know what that looks like? You think those are genuine IV sites, bandages? I have never done such left anybody looking this sloppy. I've never seen a phlebotomist. That's not it. I've literally did. All I did was put in and take out IVs at a cardiac facility
for 2 years. I never left my patients looking like that. Never in a million years. Swear it looks like painter's tape. It really does. It really looks like painter's tape. At least on this arm it does. Oh, wait till he takes them off. Gets even better. Look at this. Please.
Look, I'm sure I can take these off now, but I'll walk around and get some sympathy.
Listen to this. I'll walk around and get some sympathy. Are you serious? For what? Being a scamming liar? You're going to try to demand more free coffee? Because you can't check Miss Tammy's zing and biscuit?
Yeah, so you go in, nice lady greets you, she takes you back, explains what's going to happen, and then about the treadmill. She puts an IV in you.
Oh, no,
you don't get a
they're not
bag, you know, they just
legit.
put a needle in you, they can add drugs to it.
They are absolutely not legit. I'll put my nursing license on that. I'm a healthcare professional. This is where we always can tell where the scammers are. Listen to us. Okay. That's just a troll.
And she put some saline in. The first one didn't work. This vein is a problem. Everybody's ever tried to stick me, either side. They had to go on my forearm over here finally. I'm a challenge when it comes to sticking, except for
Do you see anything that looks like that vein got blown on that side? I didn't see it. I take my off 20 minutes. Oh, you do? Well, you're not. Well, they say after 24 hours, if it's a decent. Certain ones, you may want to wait because you could pull. Don't worry. Hi, Life Evolvers. I didn't buy IT's his stress test, the way the cotton is applied, the free coffee bar, the small waiting room, and the heart specialist office, a pre-medic, the only one of the tests. Come on, man. Exactly. It's and it's too soon. It doesn't warrant a stress test. I keep trying to tell people. It's like I feel like I bang my head against a wall. I literally have brought up the guidelines for his health condition, supposedly that he's had. And people are always going to question stuff. I mean, people are skeptical, but I can promise you, he's a medical scammer trying to get, money and sympathy from his audience or even make content. He has nothing to give. He's doesn't want to leave Florida and go anywhere. He's already said about how all the weather everywhere is terrible. And he literally called Miss Tammy in their apartment home today. The RV is a film set, and he probably then has it as a studio. And as a studio, maybe he just then writes it off on his taxes. And he just makes some meat that he eats and goes. This is wild. Okay, keep going, Tim. So I can drink some more iced tea because I get dry from that medication I took today.
for those Quest Diagnostic people that just need to draw, it's not a problem. But to put an IV so something can flow, it's always going to be a problem. So anyway, got the IV done.
Why? Why was it going to be a problem? You look like a decent sized man, Tim. You're not elderly, super elderly. I used to pop IVs and people like you all the time. People are literally on death's door from cardiac conditions. I put IVs into people. Still wouldn't leave a bandage looking like that. Even on somebody dying, I wouldn't leave a bandage that looked like that. No medical profession worth their damn salt is going to leave that shit on your arms. You're such. This whole story is just garbage.
Went into the guy with the treadmill. There's this fancy square camera. It's not even like a round. Doesn't look like anything like a camera. It's a big rectangular shaped thing that hovers over you. You lay in this.
Exactly. Thank you, Dr. Classy Badassy. A stress test is not managed by a firefighter with a side hustle as a phlebotomist. Absolutely. He's just talking just to talk. He's just full of nonsense. Quiet 96 here says, when I've had stress tests, there was an R in the room in case you crump and they have to administer drugs, unless things are very different in Florida. Probably not. How, I doubt it. It says if Tim really went to get a stress test, he would use that as content and showed himself running on the treadmill because he wants all reviews. It never would have happened the way he described all the stuff ahead of time. And the fact that he and Fred had stress tests coincidentally on the same days, but different centers, he was quick to point out, is funny. It's funny, to say the least. It's funny. It's funny. It's fantasy fireman. Oh, he gets into an absolute fantasy world over here. It's farcical. It's comical. Keep going.
Chase Lounge.
Medical scammer.
And they turn the lights
My
out.
opinion.
And the thing just goes about every 30 seconds. That's what takes so long. And it just sits there, I guess, and takes these photos of your heart from one side of your chest to the other. And so this thing starts over here. I just close my eyes and try to make it go by quicker. Try to rest myself a little bit. And it goes over, and then you go on the treadmill. So the guy takes you in there, and he shoots a little juice in you, and you start walking slow. Then they take the incline up. And he said, I knew that I wouldn't have a problem with you. He said, the only way you can fail this thing is to fall off the treadmill.
Do you really think a medical professional would tell you the only way to fail this thing is to fall off a treadmill? The way he describes these folks that were, it's just, it's, and he's acting like he's going to get the results too. Anybody who is running these tests as ordered by a physician or a nurse practitioner or a PA, a physician's assistant, is not allowed to tell them anything about what they're seeing. It's not worth their jobs. They are not allowed to reveal anything because they are not the person who ordered the test. And Tim talks about the fact that he knows how he did and so forth. It's absolutely just not even what would occur. It's so fake. It is terrible.
So this guy want to come over? Go ahead. No, he's just drifting.
Exactly.
Do I need anything at Walmart?
Thank you. That's a very thing that I also wanted to point out. And I'm glad somebody is seconding this for me because it's absolutely true. Those who are given a chemical stress test, they only give that for those who are medically unstable and unfit to do it on a treadmill. They're not going to do two. They're not going to have you do the medical stress test and then put you on a treadmill. And Tim, as we know, is supposed to be doing sprints like Usain Bolt. It's just more of the laughable crap. And I'm going to use that word. Sorry. I know I try not to use bad language. I do try to remain professional. But this is why I hate these types of scammers out here, because they also give really bad information about how these things are conducted. And his audience may not be very medically literate. And we don't need more illiterate people around topics around health who are using it, as he just said, to get sympathy walking around. Tim wants the sympathy. He got whatever he can milk for the eye, but that's not going to, people aren't going to be very sympathetic because he obviously was his own worst enemy for it. Only like the 5 people in his comment section who care anything about this scoundrel. My dad has had a chemical stress test. I think it was after or before chemo started for stage 4 cancer. I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, you could go on and on dissecting his medical lies. Well, if you want to join me as an emoji, you could come on. Let me know. I'll send you the link I'll send you the link. I don't know how to do it privately though, but I would. Just Me says it's not uncommon to do a stress test as part of the annual physical if needed. Well, that's good to know. But Tim is, we know, not going into any annual physical. you know, but Tim also, it's not always usual after you think somebody has as high of a coronary artery calcium score as Tim has. He would not be walking on the treadmill. They would have just medically induced him then.
I do. I know I do. I'm going in there. You can always get something at Walmart. So take about 10 minutes. It does not take 2 to 3 hours. I was in there. Well, what time is it? 11:14? Oh, I got there at 9. That's a good looking Cadillac Escalade. Nice color. Man, those are good looking.
Thank you.
Show it to you.
I appreciate that
Probably in
common
there.
sense.
Yeah, looks good. Probably in there going, what are you photographing me for? Because your truck looks good. Hey, thanks very much for all the comments, the prayers. I was reading them in there. I'll get back to my story in a minute. And I mean, tons of prayers. And they worked.
You know, I live in an area where people believe in a lot of religious miracles. And, you know, I don't want to be a religious skeptic, but, you know, we know with Tim, it's just he's grifting with it. You know, it's a grift. You know, he's got to get those prayers for the audience. Look at this gauze, though. Please, cannot with that.
Favor was chasing me down. Although she's not the doctor and can't interpret, you know, the final thing. The first pictures that they take just shows your heart, a round circle, basically. And the way she explained it, which makes total sense, is that picture is just to show the camera's pointing right. But she said if there was significant damage or poor blood flow, you wouldn't have good symmetry. You know, it wouldn't be as round.
Right,
and so
exactly.
she's done enough of them to know that she doesn't see anything major. That does not mean that the minute details of which the dye they stuck in me, this radioactive, nuclear, they use all this language.
They're not seeing anything major. They're not allowed to tell you if they see anything. They can't tell you if they see anything. Anything. How do I know? I just had somebody I know have an X-ray. And the tech obviously took the X-ray, and probably as they're taking things, they probably recognize things too. But guess what? Their mouth stayed shut. Guess who called them? Their doctor that day, who ordered the test. That's how it's done. Not this. This is bullshit. That's a medical term.
Language about nuclear and radioactive does not mean, you know, that it shows everything. So that was done. You do it again, another 10 minutes after the treadmill. I'll be on your way in a minute, sir. And you get your heartbeat up, and then they can see the dye. And I seen a color screen over there, color imagery of what, you know, and she says in about 30 minutes, which I'm not going to be there, it'll show me all these details and I'll interpret it or write down notes or whatever that she gives to the doctor. So I didn't get any information, you know, of course.
Right, Angel Glass.
Other than, hey, I don't see anything.
Angel Glass is saying that she was at an X-ray to get seen for a broken foot and asked them if they saw that, and they said they couldn't say it. They cannot tell you. So when he talks about these people telling him all this stuff, garbage. None of this happened. He took Fred to a stress test. This man is a full-blown liar. He never said it was part of an annual physical. He said it was because he had that high coronary artery calcium score.
Alarming here. And then the guy that did the treadmill with me, cool dude. Fire department, doing this to the side, also got a great future in front of him for retirement. He said, yeah, that was no problem for you. And I got my heart rate up to it said my target heart rate was 130. And I got it up there and I maintained that for a couple, 3 minutes or whatever it is. And then they shut you down. Then you go back in there and do the picture thing again. Then they throw you out after they collect the $45. Of course, there's a couple of people in front of me paying.
What is he talking about with the firefighter? Can somebody please explain? Yeah, so no, the treadmill was supposedly after the chemical stress test. So they did the chemical first, and then he went and did the walking stress test, of which the firefighter side hustle phlebotomist let him know that he knew he would just pass it. What the heck? Because, despite Tim having this elevated cholesterol score, of which we know no LDL or HDL, and despite his outrageously high, outrageously off the charts coronary artery calcium score, he's just the picture of health over at this stress test. Just, making a mockery as to why any of these tests would be ordered. So there's literally people thinking that, Tim is still telling the truth, and that people in the medical profession are farcical fools who just order shit for people. And I'm sick of the rhetoric, to be honest. I'm absolutely tired of it. Not only have they demonized about everything that we use to protect people and their health, they want to demonize the people who spend years studying this shit too, like me. While they harp on about stuffing their gobs with huge amounts of stupid food that's going to destroy their health. Unfortunately, because we do not have a good health system in this country, and because people like Tim avoided medical care because he didn't want to pay for it out of pocket, he's now just an absolute garbage medical skeptic who just trops out mis-fucking information, pardon my French, and wants people then to have sympathy for his dry, begging self. Sorry, Tim, I've got a new one for you. It says, hold on, it says, please, sir, may I have some more? That means some more money. I'm just going to have to bring out the old one.
I simply asked. I said, I wish I could have that dry begging. Well, you know what that is.
Oh, God, he's terrible. All right, let's give away some good memberships. Okay, so 97% don't think that Tim's IV site are real bandages, and 3% do. So you're doing a good job there, Tim. No, I'm just playing. All right, let's give away. Let me see. Hold on, let me close that. I'm going to do a giveaway. Yay! We're going to do some more membership gifting. Cody already gifted 5 memberships. I'm going to give 5 memberships too. I'm going to give 5 right now, just because I can. All right. So let's see who got the gifted. Who got gifted? Sandra was gifted. Lance Hunter was gifted. Marco Tempesta was gifted. Lockdog was gifted, and Kimberly Curtis was gifted. Congratulations, all of you who won those tonight. All right, Tim, take it away.
$10, and I was like, man, this $45 is nickel and diming me to death. I mean, this is the second with him. So it was just a very
the $45 just nickeling and diming Tim to death.
Good experience. Very nice people. The lady remembered me that went to check me out when I first met the doctor. I told you my little quickie video I made when I was having coffee that the girl that does
the coffee, that looked like the waiting room for the family members. Would I ask your opinion of where do you think he got the bandages put on his arm, especially that stretchy tape? He could have gotten that from any location, like a pharmacy or one of his friends like JJ. Wasn't his wife having a medical thing going on recently? His Tammy's daughter works as a nurse practitioner. Maybe she had some stuff lying around the house. Maybe Tim had a procedure from before that he had something. Yeah, that stretchy tape is available in the first aid section in any store, including, he could have picked it up at Walmart. He got the bandages from Tammy, probably. Yeah, any pharmacy. He can get that stuff from anywhere. So it's not exactly like rocket. That gauze is probably what he had left over from his eye stuff. Eye patch days.
Give me the IV. The guy that does the treadmill,
flat
the fireman.
My gosh.
What do you call those guys?
Flat Pat, that is super generous. Tap Pat says for the war fund. Well, it is a war, and I hope you did take. I think you were there when we did the counter notifications, so I appreciate that. Like I said, for those of you who've just become members, you get a chance to see the first part of the legal action. There is more to come. Thank you so much for that generosity, though. That's really appreciated. That's going to buy lots of coffees for the legal fund. So thank you. That's really nice. Yes, it is very nice. Yeah, Flat Pat rocks. I know. Thank you, Angel of Glass. Yeah, that's awesome, generous. We're going to hold that up there because Tim loves generosity because he's going to pay it forward. I'm going to pay it forward by making sure that we don't have you targeting vulnerable people, Tim, especially elderly people who used to send you money for golf shirts and stuff. All that free stuff. Do you remember when he took the holiday up into North Carolina and stuff with that couple? Oh, they never had him back. They probably couldn't stand his grifting ways. He probably didn't even leave a tip for the, he just really, all the money that he made, did he ever help any of his grandchildren, anybody out? No, it's Tim. It's all about Tim. Like I said, part of the reason why I decided to go ahead and restart making commentary about Tim, because I kind of went away again because he was irritating me with kind of like, I didn't want to get into the mess of it all, was because of what he was doing to olive oil. And at the end of the day, I just thought, no, this man is a medical scammer. He is a cyber bully. He is a terrible bully. He thinks he can run around on YouTube and have people bully creators who use his content under fair use. It was just getting out of control. And I said, no, I can't take this anymore. If I'm going to do it, I'll do it this way. And then I gave the opportunity for him to, stop trying to, because I was like, look, I am going to do these counters. I'm not like the other channels that, may not, respond and just let it go after 90 days. I am going to counter you. And the third time I said, that's a charm. Now we're bringing the attorneys and now it's on, Tim. You should see the one that I just got. And like I said, you just added more exhibits for me. Oh, and all your videos about haters and stuff. Oh, it's all going in there, Tim.
He's got a paramedic, so he doesn't have like a doctor or what do you call a nurse practitioner. He can't stick you and all that. He can add a little juice in there and do his job. But she was what's the point of it? I was gonna say I trailed off. Anyway, I paid $45. Everybody else was paying $10. Oh, I'm leading up to the bad news. That's what it is. So everybody's very nice and had a good experience. The coffee was the best cup of coffee I've drank in my life. And I got out of there, and here's the bad news. Now, I knew that I would have a follow-up visit. They always say, all right, now we need you to come back in a week, and we're going to talk about the results and this and that. And I said, oh, I got to come back. I'm not good to go. Of course, you can't leave until the doctor tells you what he finds.
Well, the doctor's not going to be there that day because the place where you went the stress test, I mean, it might have been at the cardiologist's office. But depending on what type of cardiologist he is, if he's an interventionalist, he may be on the floor doing some casts. They're not just like... Keep going, Tim.
So I kind of knew that and forgot about it. I thought after I do this doctor visit today, I'm done. But no. And you know what she told me? This is what's terrible. Okay, you're due to come back on the 23rd. I said, the 23rd? It's only the 2nd. I said, I had a follow-up, right? This was said. She says, yeah. I said, well, what is that for? And she said, they're going to do an ultrasound, an EKG.
This makes no sense to me. Why? All right, finish it out. But I'm going to tell you why this makes no sense.
Or something like that they put gel on you. And
so Tim is trying to say at this point that he's also having an echocardiogram. What supposedly has given his cardiologist thought that he's having a structural issue with his heart? or that he's having any signs of heart failure, or he needs to know what his ejection fraction is of his heart because he has heart failure, or he has a problem with a valve. That's generally the reason for an echocardiogram. Tim has no evidence of any of this. Does he have a heart murmur? Did they hear a murmur? Was there something that said he was leaking? Why is he having an echo? Why are you having every possible known cardiac test to mankind but the cardiac cath? There's what reason for the echo? Nice guy. My cardiologist's office has people come in on certain days to do stress tests. Same with doing ultrasounds and placing Holter monitors. And about once a month, they have a huge pet mobile unit come in. Right. They do certain days for some things and certain days for other. You have valve issues, so you've had echocardiograms because of the valve issues, for sure. I'm sorry to hear that. I have a very good friend of mine who has an issue with that, and it can be problematic because it can put pressure on your aorta and lead to other problems. Why is Tim having these tests? He's just talking about tests. Like, they just do all these tests. Well, it sounds like potentially if this is something that Fred's having, Fred is potentially, 80 some years old and potentially could be going through all these heart issues. But Tim is like acting like he's having massive cardiac problems, and with no supposed signs of symptom because this man's supposed to be out here sprinting. No, I had to schedule a separate appointment for stress at done in the hospital. Yes, in certain areas, it may be at the hospital because that may be where they have facilities. Especially in certain areas. My echocard is to see my ejection fraction. Exactly. For your stents. And also, the ejection fraction is going to let the physician know if you're also, what heart failure, congestive heart failure. It's primarily heart failure. If you're having heart failure is the real reason a lot of times to that. Tim's faking health trauma. Absolutely. Common sense, I had to have an echocardiogram once because my primary thought she heard a heart murmur. See? I told you. A heart murmur. Tim's never mentioned a heart murmur. Let's hear if he mentions one now. Oh, he won't dare to. Went to a hospital to get it done and the doctor did the test, though the info then had to go to the cardio. Oh, well, did they confirm the murmur? You don't have to let us know. That's your personal information. Ray, you have a good point on Fred. Tim makes up an alternative life by stealing Fred's life. Yes. And Fred probably doesn't really watch Tim's garbage. He's tired of hearing Tim. You don't need to watch his stuff. Probably doesn't even have YouTube. Do you know what I mean? So Fred and Rafaela probably don't have YouTube hooked up on their channel. Maybe he got them to subscribe, but whether they watch it, probably not. It's not really their generational thing to do, as much. I let it go afterwards immediately because it was normal. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad it was normal. I'm glad. Ray, you have a good point. Yeah, thank you. I think I got all these points. Okay. Oh, my goodness, Tim. Let's keep going.
And go around on you. And I'm thinking, I don't even need any of this. But anyway, I said, is that the time that the doctor is going to go over these tests today of what they did? No, that's on the 17th.
Thank you. Nice. Near the Golf Gypsy says, as a person with CHF, I don't appreciate STs trying to drum up pity in hopes of extracting what he can from his followers. I don't either. And that's why I call him out, because I hate medical scammers. Because they also give really bad information to people who may not have experience with health things, and I think it's not good. I don't think this is a person who should have a platform talking about any of these things. Unless if he wants to talk about his eye, that's fine. But he didn't even manage to follow through on his doctor's orders about taking care of that. So I believe in my deepest heart that, well, I know I can just see the IVs. Besides, thousands of dollars later, Tim doesn't take doctor's advice, still eats a high-fat diet, in denial, won't take a statin, which makes me think he hasn't even seen anybody. I don't even think he has a primary care, this nice nurse practitioner. I swear he's got a doc in the box, and the only other person he might have seen is the eye doctor. And I don't even know if he saw the dermatologist because he never showed the stitches anywhere on his body. And Tim is so wanting sympathy. He would have definitely flashed those stitches around. We didn't see one stitch from all of that supposed stuff he had done by his dermatologist. I didn't see one suture on that man.
I said, oh my gosh. I said, listen,
And
I just had eye surgery
chest on the
and
beach
they got
all
me on
the
a ball
time.
and
If it was on his chest and he's out there on that beach all the time showing his chest, then he went out and got himself burnt on his face like a couple of days later. That's a Jesus on that.
well, I got to come back every week. I said, I'm trying to, live my life and maybe get out of here for a little while. I said, that's the whole month of April. That's not enough window to go and come back. So she, empathized with that. And I wasn't whining and complaining. I was just saying, man.
No, I think you just aren't going to want to travel in April. And so you've got to get an out with your audience because you don't have the cash as you had in the past. And you don't save your money, Tim. You had to pay off the CC rider from whatever maybe you did have sitting on the CD because of the fact that you tried to sell it while it still was leaned because you hadn't paid off the car. I do not believe you had paid it off and hadn't verified it. I think what happened was you got the money out the CD and then sent it over to Honda and paid it off because you realized you got caught in another lie. And now you've got that car and now you don't have that CD making you even a slight bit of interest at the moment. So you got the car, you got the truck, you got the RV, you've got a channel that has slowly started to lose the AdSense it had. You've complained that your Amazon is going downhill. I'm sure you've highlighted $15 buy me and coffees when you were giggling and laughing just this time last year about, people sending you hundreds. I mean, you were getting $1,000 a month on buy me a coffee sometimes. It was wild. When he was traveling, they were just sending him. Every one of his followers was sending him like $100 a time. I mean, Tim was living it large. It's dried up substantially.
Yeah. And she said, well, I'm going to flag you in the computer here if there's an opening. And I was warned too, these cardiologists, they are not the easiest to get in and see like quick. They work on
And funny about the Honda, because somebody said about whether in one of Tim's recent videos that he should take it to a dealer and sell it. He's like, I'm not selling it wholesale price. Because Tim want to make sure he gets every dang penny.
On a backlog.
It's all about the money.
So, if Favor keeps following me and chasing me down, I will get in and get the ultrasound, not just the report.
Oh, Favor. What the for Jesus, Tim? Come on. Come on.
No. I simply asked. I said, I wish I could have that dry begging. Well, I mean, you know what that is.
Stop dry begging God for favor. Jesus doesn't want to give you any favor, Tim. Favor. This scam artist. This just sounds like this terrible prosperity garbage. Favor. You know what favor is for these religious people? Money in their damn pockets. That's it. Money. They worship money. Tim doesn't have a religious bone in his damn body. He's been shacking up with Tammy. This man has not a single Christian value. The way you decided to dox me and then ask me, where do I work? You asked me in some drunken, rage-filled, narcissistic, one of the actual posts that he left under one of my videos, under the egregious Miss Vicky handle, personally asked me, I want to know where you work. And I do not ever reveal who the company is that I work for or where I work. One reason is I work in a home with a child who has disabilities. So this nasty individual wants to be able to find out where I work in order to potentially cause either he believes harm with my employer, which it wouldn't, because I have excellent reviews. And so the only thing that they would wonder is, who are you, sir? We already have suspicions that you are the person who reported call to the bar. So you are such a little worm that you don't want to actually pay for an attorney to actually take your legal stuff on. But you're going to have to be paying for one soon, so I promise you. And everyone talks about a lawsuit. I promise there's a lot of other things that can happen that do not require going into a court of law that are just as effective for what I'm trying to do. Stalking is illegal. Yes, it is. It is absolutely. And I think trying to, ask somebody who works with children, I want to know where you work. Obviously, it's not very nice, along with all these other threats and cyberbullying things. So it's just more to the cyberbullying. Yeah, he's an absolute worm. He's Bradenton Baker living in he's absolutely, I'm not making this stuff up. Tim is so angry at me at the moment. And I am going to use his anger to my advantage. So keep going, Tim.
Part of what they did today, but even ask him, what do I need this ultrasound for? Why are you?
He's a creep.
So I thought this was going to be the only test that could be, confirm if I need anything more. I wonder if Fred is going to get that too.
Oh, I wonder. What do you think, everybody? Junebug's about to give a balk too, because she's so tired of Tim's voice. You take him on, Junebug. Oh, I wonder if Fred's going to get that test too. Oh, what a coincidence. Huh. Yeah. Oh, I wonder. Yeah, it sounds like these are a lot of things that would be happening to 80-some-year-old Fred. Not this guy who's supposedly, living his best life and doing sprints. It gets better, people, I promise.
That's $2 more $45. I can make it a car payment. So, so that's the deal. And I will tell you this. Now, it's a revolving door. These people were waiting outside to get the IV set. Then they were put in, like I did.
Do you see how he talks about medical professionals? It's a revolving door. These people, people who spend years studying for their profession and who work and actually work and work long and hard hours and deal with the public. But, in Tim's fictitious, story after dropping Fred off, this is how he wants to talk. It's disparaging. And I'm done with it now with him. So you've picked the wrong, somehow, Tim, you wound up in my feed, and your, just your behavior after you put that naked video of yourself. I was like, what is up with this person? He was shilling, sausages, but you could kind of see how when he was getting more channel views, and obviously he could see how much money making, it was really going to his head. It really went to his head. And I think that's something that you have to be so aware and careful of in these types of modern forms of media, where you could potentially have fame and money quite rapidly. And how do you then handle and manage it? Well, you did a really poor job, Tim.
Then they were waiting outside to lay on the Chase Lounge that I was on. Then they were sitting outside, waiting to get on the treadmill. And then when I went to pay, we had 2 or 3 waiting to pay. And then another one was being told and given that paper that I got. All right, prepare to be here 2 or 3 hours. Don't eat, don't drink coffee, fast, getting the orders of what to do to get in there.
What do you mean don't drink coffee? They supposedly had a coffee bar set up for you halfway in between the test. What happened to the coffee bar? Oh, that's right. How he explained that was what you got to grab yourself a coffee in between walking the treadmill, because that's exactly what they want to do, is induce caffeine into you and stimulate you further. After you've just been supposedly, I mean, he didn't even mention about the reversal medication from the stress test. Shows you how little he really paid attention, hey?
It's just like churning them in, man, churning them out. But I suppose that people that go to a cardiologist for the first time have to go through these preliminary tests to become, they don't just open you up, right, and look in there.
Listen to him, all these preliminary tests open you up and look in you. Look at you. I am hoping that my counter notification is at least giving people relief from his videos today, because at this time he'd only put out 2, which is good from the usual 15 that we have to see.
There. So, yeah, we're talking the 24th now, that he's going to do the Vaseline job.
The 24th. I mean, how many different dates? I've heard the 8th. He had the 23rd. Now he has the 24th. I think I've heard the 17th. He then went to April 2nd. He has come out with so many different dates now. It is insane. I mean, literally pathological to this point, in my opinion. This is why this video is just wild. 23 minutes of wild lies.
There's going to be a report or a visit required after that, no doubt, to talk to me about it. So I have a prison job, going to the doctors. April is gone. May is going to be.
Oh, prison job, going to the doctors. Or taking Fred to the doctors. You probably charge him for the gas, Tim, because you're such a cheap bastard. Pardon my French. I'm so done with Tim. As you can tell. Just because I don't like the way he disparages the medical community. And it really gets me. I didn't want to make my own reaction on this. I literally wanted to do this with an audience because I felt like I needed the emotional support in some ways, because he is just terrible.
It's going to be too hot. I am definitely not going to be going unless they can get me out of here tomorrow, even contemplating it. And maybe that's just the way it's supposed to be anyway. Not that I won't go back next year or fly out there or something like that on a different situation. But I'm not going to drag my
cocktail sipper. He needs a colonoscopy just to measure the amount of bullshit in him.
Camper to the desert in May. I'm not glutton for punishment. This is enough. Going to these doctors all the time and dealing with the heat we have here. So
dealing with the doctors, because nothing that's going to be able to have his audience relate to him more than, especially his elderly vulnerable audience, than doctor visits. That's going to drum up some that's going to have to drum up some sympathy, so people want to use his Amazon links or send him money for that e-bike he was looking for. I know it's Johnny Vegas. Yes, he should be. And Johnny Vegas and that heart transplant, what a load of schmuckadoodles was that? Johnny Vegas had no heart transplant. The man looked like he had nothing. I mean, he probably maybe had a heart stent, but a heart transplant? Do you know how long those people have to remain in hospital on immunosuppressant drugs, and how long of a process it is even to get a heart? He wouldn't have been out playing, I know he wasn't really golfing with Tim, but that's no heart transplant pay. He's not he did not. He just makes shit up, I swear.
That's the bad news.
Scammer.
But what are you going to do? You got health issues. You got the disadvantage plan. They want to milk the system. I'm not taking.
Oh, see, this is all the stuff I dislike. Just this podcast bro rhetoric. None of this is happening to Tim. He's fortunate to have even the disadvantage plan, because he contributed nothing to anything. He's just taken his whole life and didn't do anything to take care of himself. But I actually believe, because of his history in the past of how he did not like to pay for medical care, That's why, in my opinion, as somebody who works in psychiatric health, would assume that that pattern of his behavior, regardless of whether he has an insurance card in his pocket, has not changed. This man would not be paying for medical care unless he was literally on a effing stretcher or going blind. I meet these patients all the time. This is not somebody who's regularly following up with a physician. He's full of shit.
Stalin's. I'm not doing. I'm going to take the baby aspirin. I'm going to take the ASG C210. I'm going to take that, but I'm not taking these Stalins.
Are you taking 210 milligrams of aspirin? Because that's too high of a dose. Okay, you're going to do yourself harm. I'm going to help you out here, Tim. Okay, so you can save yourself some aggro. It's too high. Shouldn't be more than 100 milligrams. 81, preferably, if you're going to take the aspirin. And the CoQ10, whatever. Have expensive P. There's no evidence. If you're not taking the statin, then supposedly there's no reason for the CoQ10. So why are you taking the CoQ10?
I'm going to wait until I see the doctor and have him chew me out and tell me. Both the girl, the girl and the guy that helped me today.
He thinks it's funny to call statin Stalin. I guess he thinks it's like the Communist Party that he feels like it's forced upon him. Supposedly he only took 3 doses.
We're interested in the carnivore diet.
No,
not saying good or bad about it.
They are not interested in your carnivore diet. Absolutely hogwash BSery. That this is a narcissistic confabulation. This is fictitious. This never happened. I would put my nursing license on this.
I asked her, what do you think about it? Because she just does what she does. And she said, well, I just say, how'd she put it? Do your own research. You know your own body. So, and that's really good advice to anybody.
Really? Because none of them would understand to know anything about guidelines about the Mediterranean diet, or that's a conversation you should probably have with your cardiologist. No, they're just going to tell you to do your own research, and how your body feels, which is the worst, stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's probably one of my least favorite comments I think I've ever heard people say. You know why? Because that person probably could have a 99% blockage in their left ascending artery and not have a clue about it. That's the one that comes off the heart. That's called the widowmaker. And feel great, and then the next day be dead or having a stroke. Because your body is very good at compensating for where it isn't efficient until the point it can't compensate any further. So saying that you go by how you feel, no medical professional would say shite like that. You've got me cussing so hard tonight, Tim, because all of this is just the worst I've heard of the worst medical misinformation and nonsense out there. And it gets even better. It gets even better. I cannot believe this. Make sure you hit the likes on the way in here. He doesn't have a primary. E4, Mafia. Tim does not have a primary care. Because supposedly the cardiologist, chewed him out for not taking them. Did I miss something? Yeah, you missed the fact that Tim's just a liar. That's the only part that you've missed out. That all of this is fictitious. Tim doesn't have a primary care. Tim has not seen any primary care doctor. These are all Fred's stories. That bottle with the prescription, that could have been from when he was, went to the doc in the box about the bronchitis. He doesn't have a doctor. This is a man who never wanted to pay for health insurance for him or his kids. Do you think now this is the sort of man that would be willing to pay for, a primary care and start seeing a doctor suddenly? No, this is the type of patient that we have who shows up, post heart attack on us. That's this guy. This is a guy who only gets the stuff fixed that he needs to get fixed, like the eye. He doesn't think he needs to see anybody. Or he goes to the doc in the box when he has an irritating cough and he tries to, get some prescription narcotics his way. This is not a man who goes to a primary care. See, the rest of you do these good habits. And so it's hard to know what these patients are. But I promise you, I have had a lot of patients like Sarasota Tim in my time. And in my experience, this is not a man who has a primary care. In fact, when he shows up in the emergency room, having had a myocardial infarction and an ST elevated MI, a STEMI, a literal STEMI, he's going to have no PCP listed. That's why. He's just making up stuff. And he wants to get into the conversations about statins and things because he's got zero content, because he's boring. All he does is go to the Walmart. He had to make something up. You're not going to hear any of this conversation coming up soon, I promise you, because he's too scared now because he got the letter from my attorney.
That, if you've already had a heart attack or a stroke or your cholesterol's through there, let me change the subject. Well, I got my brain. The CT scan for the calcium score don't mean anything. It is a clue. It is an idea. It is a...
No, my friend said, and she's a cardiology nurse practitioner, that if they'd seen a 1575, you would have been on the cath table. Considered critical. And any cardiologist, they actually do appreciate knowing these scores. So shut up, Tim.
Throw in the mix to give them maybe we should do the next step. It is nothing conclusive. Because when I told her, the number I got and what numbers are and how the doctor said he's seen 5,000 and 6,000, she agreed. She said, I've seen them, and that shouldn't be anything conclusive at all. So a lot of people...
I'm so glad that happened to you. Somebody I know recently was robbed and had ribs broken, and one of them punctured their lungs. And so it's scary, and I'm so glad that they were able to reinflate you. I think I've seen that procedure. It is an old procedure. It's scary to see, but it works.
When I read them that, they freaked out. They were like, call 911. You're about ready to stroke out. You better get off the eggs and bacon and steaks now. So you see how it's very confusing. You see how...
Really? Really? No, it's not confusing, because I've actually showed the guidelines for the American Heart Association, the American College of Cardiology, and the multiple other institutes that are involved with cardiology. And they clearly state not to eat red meat. And they clearly state, or in very small amounts, a Mediterranean style diet. They don't say the shit that you're saying, Tim. And this is why you're problematic, and you need to be off the air, because you need to stop spreading lies. I'm tired of it. If somebody else was to say that off of that, but this does not happen inside of a medical institution.
Even the comments today, I've got, and they all mean well, suggestions of take this or that and the other instead of the Stalin pill that can help with lowering cholesterol. And so... But I did like the encouragement that I got today.
So, and cough and lie and try to figure out, where do I lie from here? Okay.
From her saying she doesn't get her paycheck. He doesn't sign her check. She makes no money from him. She does not work for him. My heart doctor. But, and she knows these other ones in there. If she needed to see a heart doctor, he would be the one. So Favor is following me that my primary, who I love also, and she's only a nurse practitioner.
He doesn't have anybody. This is all of Fred's doctors, okay? And the nurse practitioner is probably Tammy's daughter.
She is really good, and she spends all the time in the world with me. We've become friends, and I really did like this guy when I met him, even though I'm not doing what he told me to do about,
A pneumothorax is when the lung goes and then the actual trachea literally shifts over. That would be more of a pneumothorax.
Take them and they would reduce. I know they will. And I read more than half of the people in my comments actually take Stalin and have been taking them for years with no issue. But like the young lady today told me, it's just different
bilateral.
people.
That's what they
Some
call
people
it?
have told me they had cramps so bad,
wow.
they had to almost go to emergency. And that CPQ-10
So which side did
is supposed to offset that.
So which side did it shift to? Passive. When you had it bilateral, did it shift your trachea to one side or the other? Because sometimes your trachea will shift along with that. Sorry, I'm trying to listen to Tim's lies. Because the lies are terrible. When are you popping off the IV? Is that on the other video? And one of them, he actually pops off the IVs and it's the anyway.
Take it alone. Anyway.
Hopefully.
And then I got others of you telling me about the gummies. And well, that was my neighbor. And then other things I can take. A lot of people are just, trying to share.
And none of these people, I'm thinking, are doctors or nurse practitioners or PAs or anybody. So it's all anecdotal. And this is why Tim remains problematic.
Information. This is why it's a cool Grand Prix. This is why I see these infomercials on TV.
There are other medications that can be taken. Hey, Brianna, there's azimuthine. It doesn't quite work as well. Obviously, making sure that you have very good lifestyle habits where your diet is obviously going to be monitoring for, foods that are going to be high in saturated fats, especially monosaturates. Or anything that's like heavy of that nature. There's another, I want to say even another alternative to statin medications as well, other than the azimuthine. So there are alternatives to it that you can take. Statins are just known to be quite effective, and they are obviously at a lower cost. But there are other medications that can be offered. So, and like I said, obviously lifestyle changes too. So it's not just one size fits all on that. But good question. Thank you.
Peddling all these things that people will buy because everybody believes something. And
oh, really, Tim? What a pearl of wisdom. Everybody believes something. Well, I believe that you're full of it. How about that?
Everybody's a buyer. There's an ass for every seat, we used to say in the car business. Don't think somebody won't buy that. There's an ass for every seat. There's people that believe.
And he thinks that his viewers are an ass in every seat and that they're going to buy this from him. Because I don't buy this, Tim. All right, show me where you take off the IVs, because that's hilarious.
And doctors and don't. Herbs and not. Chiropractors and not. Attorneys and not. Places where you can find.
It's funny that he mentions the word attorney here. It's funny that he mentions attorneys, because this is about the time that Tim was getting my counter notification. Yes, we do have memberships. Thank you so much. And we had some people join and we had some gifted. So I'm so excited that we have so many more people in the community. We really gained some folks tonight. So that's exciting. Thank you, Angel Glass.
Find a dog and not. Everybody's got their opinion and everybody's got,
great.
And they have their own groups and all that. And that's fine. That's fine. Well, you got to do your own. If you're going to go do something, have something, take something, see a doctor, buy something, you got a brain. It doesn't diagnose your health. You're not a doctor. I'm just saying you know your body. And I know.
This is the worst type of advice. A lot of times we may not know we're vitamin D deficient. There's a lot of things. People wander around for years with diabetes. Type 2, especially, even type 1. So this is just not, it's just no, and no again. That's why people are supposed to take their blood pressure earlier, because people don't realize they have elevated blood pressure. Next thing you know, they've got damage to their kidneys. So all this talk about you know your body and all this, no, Tim, that's a fallacy. Probably one of the worst ones I hear. Now, you may know your body when something feels bad on it, but just, some things are things that you may not be aware of. So this is really bad information. Really bad. And I know this cheap son of a bitch doesn't have a primary care. Promise you. There's no way this cheap bastard is going to see anybody.
Know that I could get hit by a bus today and I could have a heart attack. It can happen. But so far, it's not likely because of the little tests I've had done. Some showing an elevated risk of heart attack. Others are showing an X-ray of a round heart.
That's right.
So until I get this next ultrasound, and people are literally looking that are specialists, then,
What is the ultrasound for? Under what indication? Just because they have to do all these tests, supposedly. But no indication? We're not that negligent. This is BS.
No, I feel great. I feel fantastic. I'm 66 and I've got favor. My parents both passed away in their late 60s. And like I was talking to my neighbor last night, they lived hard lives. They worked hard labor. They, how did he put it? He talked about how things were different for people, 50 years ago, 60 years ago with their life, things they had to do that was tough on life and the foods and different things. And we have a lot of, anyway, that's boring, but it could be genetics. It could be luck of the draw, but I'm luck. I've got favor. I'm doing good. I'm taking these off.
Oh God, boom. Look at this. Watch the next one and way it pops off. Doesn't look like the way these, it looks like, where was the blood saturating in those? Most of the time, you're going to have some blood, and they probably, especially after an IV, they're going to be pretty stuck on there for years. You've had so many, he would scam for years. Yeah. I mean, he could scam from that. He thinks he's pregnant. Ultrasound. Well, I don't want to talk about his belly because that would be mean.
Oh, great. Went down in that area that you never find anything.
Look at this one.
Oh,
look at the location.
I got my hand stuck.
That's what I don't understand too, is like the location of where that is. Hold on. It doesn't make sense.
Look, no matter where you park, people want to park right.
Like this bandage, it's like here, and it's like nobody, if you're gonna do it and you're gonna go for the AC, you're gonna go right dead center where you can see that vein bulge right on out, or you're gonna come over here into what's known as your brachial. So like into this area. There's another one that's it's like right over here. I put IVs in for years. So why is it like right here, this one on the other arm, the one he's about to take off? That makes zero sense. That vein goes pretty deep down there. You're not going to hit it that well starting an IV. You're going to go right in and see where the AC is and just pop that baby right in. That doesn't take any work at all. That doesn't take any work. His is below the elbow, actually, Marina. The other one's like below. It's like right here, sitting here, which you would never. That would be so painful on somebody, and it goes so deep. You would have a very hard time potentially getting in there without like going through the vein and blowing it. It's just, this one is ridiculous.
Right next to you, don't
And he said that on that one arm, they blew his vein. He's no bruising over there. It does not look like a vein got blown at all on that arm. I promise you. I've seen some blown veins in my time.
Got that one out of there. So yeah, bummer about.
Oh, it's kind of on the AC.
To leave.
But where is it?
I got a prison job, folks. Ooh.
I don't even see that anything came off of that blood. Blood for the red Sharpie. I guess it was on the AC, but it just, the way that bandage, oh God. It's the worst. And if you notice recently, he hasn't talked anything about his cardiac stuff.
That one bled a little bit. He said that vein got blown out. He tried to inject that stuff in me.
That's not a blown out vein. Oh, that's the blown out arm? A little blood? That's not a blowout. What are you talking about? That's not been blown. That thing would be blue. That thing would be starting to show a hematoma. That doesn't look like any vein got blown out over there. That looks like that vein's big and juicy over there. That thing doesn't look like it got blown. What are you talking about?
He said first let's put a little saline in there, and the arm got a bubble, blew up because the needle wasn't in the vein. Look, they're all parking all around me.
Well, that didn't happen on that because it would be looking a heck of a lot different on that arm. Because I've blown some poor people's veins before. I predict he's going to call oh, I know. I'm just waiting for the cancer. I'm waiting for the cancer. The blood stain looks too perfectly round. Blood stain? I don't think I even saw a blood stain. Was there a blood stain on that gauze? Let me see. Let me see if there was actually a blood stain. I don't think
so. Yeah, bummer about not being able to leave. I got a prison job, folks.
Oh yeah. It's not even the color of blood. That thing would be like dark red. That's not the color of blood. Oh, that's ridiculous. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I got to look at that again. Oh my gosh, that's funny. That's actually funny. Thank you for pointing that out.
Got that one out of there.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, bummer about not being able to leave. I got a prison job, folks.
That barely looks like blood. I don't know. This looks like red Sharpie. Or maybe he got some blood work done, but I doubt it. I think that's just red Sharpie. It doesn't look like the color of blood. It usually goes a lot darker because it gets to the, that heme. That doesn't look like old blood at all. And then it doesn't look like anything got blown over here. Oh, I don't trust that. I wouldn't put it past him to have put some red stuff on. I like some red food dye.
Ooh, that one bled a little bit. He said that vein got blown out. He tried to inject that stuff in me. He said first let's put a little saline in there, and the arm got a bubble. It blew up because the needle wasn't in the vein. Look, they're all parking all around me.
Like a perfect circle.
I'm getting me an in spot. And I'm going to go into Walmart here and,
That's what I'm thinking.
Look at something. Hey, of course I need to be here. I have nothing. Look at everybody coming around me. They're all chasing me down. Wanting to park next to me. Look, they're all coming here. Get away from me. Ah!
All right, we're going to stop sharing that one. Oh my gosh. I felt like that was very performative, the way he wanted to do the actual video right there in front of everybody and show it, and showed that one, the one kind of fell and then the other one he really showed it. That kind of made me a little bit suspicious about and it did look a bit like a Sharpie. It's usually a different color blood. It's very much a different color blood. Okay, let's see where he's been, because he's been gone. He went MIA all day long. Ever since this whole debacle about the actual here we have here's the survey. We had 117 votes. That's awesome. Thank you guys. Still 93% say no, they don't think they're real IV sites. 7% said yes. So we get, Tim, you got a little bit more support there. I still am very much questioning it after the red Sharpie. I just felt like he showed that, and it was so performative. Like taking off the bandages too in the car. That to me is like just so performative. Who does that? Who does that other than someone who's trying to narcissistically grift from people? Only Tim. Only Tim. So this one is why I question his heart conditions and the need for an echocardiogram, because Tim says he went out and ran some sprints. And then he's over here showing how healthy he is over here with his video, and talking about the Mac cafes and so forth. He's obviously we just obviously took a look at the stress test here. I don't think there's anything else that's particularly. I covered his McDonald's one today already. And if you've noticed recently, I want to say since this this last couple over here at the this is the other one where he was talking, I guess, about the doctors as well. But ever since I ensured that Mr. Baker had seen the copy of his counter notification, he has kind of not been mentioning, if you have noticed, anything about his cardiologist, his doctor visits, his echocardiogram, because I have been very unhappy with his medical misinformation. And I do, John, think that he always wants people to feel sorry for him, believes it's an easy way to extort money from nice people. Absolutely. And I'm curious. He did say there was music tonight. So I'm guessing that Tim has gone back out this evening with Miss Tammy. I guess he's out enjoying the sights of wherever he's at. And he doesn't feel comfortable, obviously, showing videos. Miss Tammy doesn't want to be in his content. And he cannot have music with copyright because he gets copyright struck. And so even though I think it's just like it's I don't think with the music it's quite the same. I just think they give you an opportunity to correct it or whatever. And so I do believe that he's just kind of probably out this evening again. The weather's been very nice here on the East Coast. We had it up in the 80s today here in Virginia Beach. Junebug and I went and took some nice walks, and then we went out and about and did some other things. So it's been very nice weather today. And so I'm sure Tim is doing that with Miss Tammy. And like I said, I don't think she wants to be in the videos. It's just very unusual for Tim to only be putting out a couple of videos a day. And I think he's, struggling for material because his lack of expertise. It was raining all day. Is that what was happening? So that could be a reason why he didn't film anything. He didn't even go to the UTC mall, though, and film in there walking. I'm surprised he didn't do something of that nature. He must have just been hanging out watching Grit TV with Miss Tammy. So got into the high 80s here. It did. Oh, it was raining where you were all day. Okay. Sorry. I thought that was over in Florida. Bless my heart. Oh, yeah. Sorry. You can tell I'm getting tired. I probably need to wind up this live stream. I am obviously, I've already kept you guys for 2 hours. So and we took a look at the video. So let me just make sure that I thank everybody. Marina for being a new member. Thank you so much. Dr. Falcon came in and told me to go get them and gave a very nice $20 donation. Cody was awesome. Just Cody was very generous and got some extra people and gifted 5 Life in 5 memberships. And I hope those of you who received those enjoy those. Miss Judy was very generous in helping with the legal fund, and we all continuing. As much as sometimes I feel, like, oh, maybe it's too much. But then I think about the stuff with Miss Vicky and other stuff and things that like today. And then I realize that no, this person's really problematic, and I don't like to call anybody like a scammer or a grifter or something. I'm somebody who's very compassionate, gives people benefits of the doubt. But things with this story and that performative way that he took those IVs off and really made sure that that one with the blood and highlighted it and stuff, that to me is even more suspicious. It's something with that, and it just didn't even look like old dried blood. Usually it's a lot darker in color because the iron is, affected once it's reached oxygen. And so blood that's old is rarely going to maintain that type of redness unless it's like frank blood that just came out on that site. And since Tim was wandering around and it kept the IV on for a while, you would assume then the blood would start to lose its oxygenation and would become darker on that bandage. And for that blood to be that bright and that red, that doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make actual sense from a scientific point of view. And so it's just kind of laughable that a grown 66-year-old man would go to that type of length to make comments for content for his videos, and to do it and then to disparage the medical profession along with it while he's trying to milk his audience for buy me a coffees and sympathies and to get views and likes and people to use his Amazon links in order for him to continue his grift. And he has made a lot of money from people, despite just the EIDL and PPP loans that he got $80,000 for being a nothing his whole life, for not providing for his children, for literally being a deadbeat dad. And he has profited from a video about Social Security, of which he has no expertise. So this is somebody who's just sadly got rewarded. And I think he needs to now, since he is so aggressive about keeping his channel, because obviously it's his side hustle, he'd have to go back to Publix, start singing those sausages again. And he will be permanently taken off of YouTube. And I am working hard to make sure that happens. Hey, I gifted 5 memberships. Well done. And then Flat Pat, thank you so much for being so generous, Flat Pat. You are always so generous. That huge $99.99 donation to the legal funds. And the battle is on, everybody. He is a real jerk. He is a real jerk. He removed the bandage in the same video towards the end. Yes, it was the way it was supposed he had been on for a while. And it was so performative the way he did it. That would have been, for it to have been that red, he would have had to have just been stuck. Literally just been stuck. And once that bandage started to get more and more exposure to the air, that iron is going to start to oxidize and it's going to get darker. Doesn't matter if it's on the bandage or on wherever it is. That's what happens. And so to have it bright, frank red like that would have meant they just stuck his ass, which obviously he had been driving around for some time. So it would not be that color. I promise you, I've seen enough bloody bandages in my time. Well, you take care of yourself, Passive 101. And I'm glad you're safe. We're going to be finishing out anyway. And I wanted to thank my massively great moderators, Miss Catherine, down over at our good old friends in the antipod world of New Zealand. And then we have our friend Angel of Glass. I think you're over on the West Coast somewhere, if I'm correct. I'm not trying to dox anybody. I've already been doxed today. So anyway, best ask, does he have another new car? I'm not sure. But I've got to ask June. Hey, Junebug, it's okay. Junebug's having nightmares. It's probably because I'm talking about Tim. So I need to East Coast. Oh, so you're on our side. Oh, so, well, I welcome fellow East Coaster. I know. What's Gail been up to? Gail is in Colorado. Oh, nice. I've never been. I would love to go. You're up in Ohio. Oh, I've been through Ohio before. I was going to Chicago. Looks like he's driving an SUV over in this car. Is this one here? Is that the is that not the CC rider? Is this a different vehicle? He doesn't have his laundry basket. Who did he dump his laundry with? I did a react on this video earlier, so I'm just gonna skip over that one. All right. Okay, guys. Well, I appreciate everyone being here. David says, just to finish it off, Kevlar says, thanks, Ray. You're welcome. David says, he is trying for his next dumbass viral video, like Social Security 62, live in a camper with a job the rest of your life. Well, unfortunately, that ship has probably sailed for his channel now. I don't think he's gonna get that viral video, not with the sort of views he's been getting lately. And since he has like 66,000 subs and his views don't match anywhere near that, he's not getting promoted by YouTube a great deal at this point. YouTube algorithm is very strange at the moment, which is why I feel so terrible asking people like, make sure you watch all the way through and this, that, and the other, because they really are like, if your subscribers aren't clicking on your videos, then they're not promoting your video out. So it's kind of like, that's kind of where YouTube's at. So if Tim has 66,000 subs and only 2,500 people are clicking on his videos, and then probably some of these people are not even subscribed and just know to go over and hate watch him, then he's not getting promoted, which is why things like this one recent video that he had over from the rowing thing that he went to just has 1.2 thousand views, and his McDonald's with the wrong order, that only has 2,500. And usually, and it's, I mean, obviously it's lovely weather, but even this time last year, Tim could put out the most nonsense video and it would get 25,000 views. So he could make decent money just like sitting in a gas station talking. And so now he's just like, his videos are just, you know, he literally has to talk about other, like literally reaction channels, like Dan stalking him supposedly, which I don't think was even the case. But he literally has to talk about stuff like that in order to get any views. So literally the only time he gets views is when he talks about drama. And I think he was hopefully thinking this cardiologist stuff would get him more views, but I don't think so at all. Hey, you having the time to meet your pillow? Have a great night. Yeah, I'm having to go meet my pillow too. I'm right there with you, Kyle. I'm getting tired. I know I can hear it in my voice. So I'm going to wish everybody a very good night. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Thank you on the way out of the stream if you haven't had a chance, you know. And we'll see you on the next one, guys. I don't think Tim's got a lot of material. So anyway, for members, like I said, for new members, go check out the members only. You'll see more information about the counter notification that Mr. Baker received that got him into a narcissistic rage and got him doxing my home address. And we're going to have more stuff. So, David came in with a super sticker. You are so sweet and so generous, David. Thank you so much. And David is sending a little pear that says #1 fan. It's a little dancing pear that says #1 fan. That's so cute. Thank you, David. You are a great supporter of this community. And it's really your support that has helped me continue with this, because obviously it has taken time. But I do really believe that he's done a lot of things that are really not nice to people. And so sometimes consequences have to be felt. And so we're going to make sure that we get some consequences to him. So thank you, Cody, for being so generous and amazing tonight. Why only 14 likes? Have I only had 14 likes so far? Oh, gosh, everyone. Make sure I get more likes than 14. Make sure you like it on the way out if you haven't had a chance to like me. So, or is that Tim's only got 14 likes? Who knows? Maybe I only have 14 likes. 140 likes. Oh, that's awesome. You have 62 likes? That's okay. But and 140 people watching. Well, just make sure you hit the likes on the way out, guys. All right, just so that people can find this stream and be warned of Tim. It's really about warning people about Tim. Tim and his band of the merry 4 horsemen men of the apocalypse. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.